Okay, let's come to 25th March, right? Yeah, that's the one.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Sir, was the video about the like three applications, and we are having the comparison between all the three, like how we can relate the VLOOKUP with the merge and all the applications of that in Excel?
No, what? I'm sorry. What is the question?
So you saw the video that you just uploaded about merge versus VLOOKUP. That, sir, was that only the comparison between all the three, that how we will be using that in Excel? The difference between the three, something of that sort.
Correct. I mean, I've done the entire example from scratch. So I've taken the same data set and I've shown you how to get the result on Excel, on Power Query, and on DAX.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so let's quickly recap what we have done so far very quickly. I will go to transform data to open Power Query. Okay, first we combined 3 years of sales. That was a historical sales. That was 2011, 2012, and 2013, right? That's the first step. After that, we combined another folder. This folder only had 1 year in it, that is 2014. But in this, we had to do a little bit of data cleaning, correct? So if you look at the steps on the right side, these are the steps that we performed. The initial ones are the automatic steps. But after that, remember we did this merged columns because my order ID was in 3 different columns. If I can just show it to you once again. My order ID was like this, part 1, part 2, part 3. So we had to merge everything. That is what we have done here. And then we also had another issue, which is that the city, state, and country was all merged together, but we did not want that. We wanted it to be split into 3 different columns. So we did that using split column by delimiter. Then I also renamed the 3 columns like this. After that, we appended both the tables or both the queries. For that, we went to append queries and we basically appended the 2 tables. So this is what we have done. If you look at the formula, table.combine, since we are combining both the tables, sales historical and sales current, right? Then we merged. We had to merge because we only had the subcategory, but remember we wanted the category as well from the category table. So we had to do a merge here. And what is it that we did in the category table? You will notice that we initially had the data like this. What were the issues? There were some null values. That's why you have this black color. You can also see the null values. The heading was not coming correctly. The text is all capitalized, but we want proper case. That means the first letter of each word should be capitalized. And of course, we wanted to fill these values. So how did we do that? First, we said promote headers, which is this one. First row as headers. Next, we did a fill down, which is simply right click and then fill and then down. So that gave us this. And then finally, we also selected and we said transform and capitalize each word. That means the first letter of each word will be capitalized. And this is the final result that we had, right? Like this. So quickly closing it. Also, if you look at okay, let it load first. Also, if you look at the modeling view, remember we had connected the date table for this. I told you that for calculations like quarter over quarter change, you have to make one. This might look very complex in the beginning because these automatic relationships have been created. So this category has been connected with, sorry, the subcategory has been connected with the subcategory. Here as well, subcategory has been connected to subcategory. Here as well, subcategory has been selected and connected to subcategory like this. Sometimes the relationship comes automatically. Sometimes you have to do it manually. Now you always have a choice. You can either create a relationship or you can do a merge. Now, how do you decide? That is exactly what the video is for. So the video explains to you how to use a relationship and how to use a merge, right? But this is a question to which there is no easy answer where I can say that, okay, this is what you have to do. So if you Google merge versus relationship in Power BI, you will see that there are lots of discussions around this topic, that should we do a merge or should I create a relationship? Do you see this? Merge versus relationship, like this. There are many articles and you should read not just one, but several articles to understand this topic well. Right. Yeah, there's only one more data that I would like to connect to before we start with Tableau. So let me open it. Now we are working on Power BI and we have just give me a moment to find the correct file. Hold on. Was it a discount? Yeah, I think it was a discount. Hold on. The discount, let's quickly look at it. And we have this, perfect. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that every transaction will get a discount. That means if my order priority is low, right, and my shipping time is 1 day, then I will get 0% discount. See, look at the logic here. If my order priority is critical, right, and I'm able to offer the person a 1 day shipping, then I don't need to offer them a higher discount. Makes sense, right? But if I am offering a 7-day shipping and my order is critical, it's like the customer is paying more money because it's a critical shipping. So I go to FedEx and I say, give me the 1 day shipping, which is like really costly. And FedEx says, sorry, Havish, but we can't give you a 1 day shipping. The best we can do is 7 days. The least I would expect is that they offer me a discount, isn't it? So it's all very logical that if the order priority is low and if you're shipping it in 1, 2, 3, or 4 days, you don't need to offer a discount to the customer, right? Because the order priority is low. That means the transaction value is low, correct? The transaction value is also low. That means the customer is not really buying a lot from you. Why would you offer them a discount unnecessarily? But if your shipping is taking a lot of time, then you are a little on the back foot and you would want to offer a little more discount to the customer. By the way, this is how FedEx, I mean, obviously not such a small file, but at a larger level, one of my ex-interns, Talha Parkar, he is working with DTDC right now. He started with a sales profile, but then he was working on Tableau, so he got an internal transfer into a Tableau data analyst role. These are exactly the sort of things they have to do. You know, they have to mix and match. Like for an account, if the order size is small, you don't want to offer them too much. But if the order size is very large, you want to prioritize that order, right? And you want to offer them a higher discount if the business is there. Otherwise, they will say we will shift to India Post or whoever else it is, right? Yeah. Any questions on this? Does it make sense, everybody? What we're trying to do here? Everyone? Okay. Now, my request from all of you would be that for this one problem, right? Don't do it with me. I'll tell you the reason why. This is a little over and beyond what we were planning to cover. We have already done a lot of things on DAX and Power Query and data visualization, correct? And the thing is that we only had 3 days, right? So this is more of a 10-day training. Now, I would still like to cover this example for you, but if you practice it with me, it's going to take a lot longer. So my request would be to just watch, ask questions, observe carefully what I'm doing. Of course, you will have the video recording with you. Of course, it's covered in my courses as well. And of course, I'll be sharing the file with you. So in any case, I'll be sharing the solution with you guys as well. But my request from everybody would be, for this one example, I would not like you to work with me because we spent so much time on it and I want to cover Tableau as well, right? Okay, I hope that's okay with everyone. But I'll explain it properly, okay? I'll not do it in a hurry. Let's watch. So let me first refresh and see if there's any problem that is coming up. Hold on. Okay, no problem. It says that there are some errors that are there, and I'm not sure why that is happening. Let's quickly go and check. We should not be scared of errors that happen. Let's see. Okay, there seems to be an error in custom. Okay, no problem. So let me come here. Sales, quantity, shipping cost, and the cost of goods sold. Okay. In the historical, also we have sales, quantity, cost of goods sold, and the shipping cost. Okay, but then what's this added custom? Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to do this text.length to show you that we can write formulas. Let me remove that to avoid any confusion. Okay, and I think the refresh should work perfectly now. Yeah, I think all seems good. Perfect. Let's quickly upload the discount file as well, and we will connect that, right? But there'll be like 5-6 steps involved in it. Very simple, but I would like you to watch them carefully. So first I will go to Excel, and then desktop, and then we have IIMK. Is that the one we are selecting, or can we also select from the NDIM folder itself? Yeah, MDIM, then we have Power BI, and then we have discount. Perfect. Now, the moment we connect to the Excel file, immediately you will notice that there are some issues with it. If you notice, there are these null values coming at the top and there are some null rows coming at the bottom. Never be afraid when this happens. It's very common because in Excel, we put our data in a format which is not like a flat file or a simple file, a simple tabular layout, right? So we'll go to transform, and that is exactly why we have Power Query, right? To fix these issues. Okay, can somebody tell me what is the first step that you think we should do? Anyone? Just by looking at the data, what do you think is the first thing we should do?
We have to go for the critical values.
We have to go for what?
Critical values. So
No, I'm sorry, I did not follow that. You said critical values?
yes, sir.
No. Let's just talk about data cleaning. In this data, we have 9 rows, but it's clearly not correct, right? So what do you think we have to add, remove, change? First thing.
To remove first 2 rows with
We have
3
to remove
rows.
the first, not just the 2. We have to remove the first 3 rows, right? Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now I can also click on the drop down and then deselect the null value. That's one way of doing it, right? Like this. That will also work, but sometimes you don't want to remove null values like that. There are reasons for that. For now, I just want to remove the top 3 rows, correct? Let's see how we do that. So I'll go to remove rows and I'll say remove top rows. How many rows do we want to remove? We want to remove the top 3 rows. Just like that, we also want to remove the bottom 3 rows. So I will go to remove rows, remove bottom rows, and I'll say 1, and that will remove the bottom row. But now my first row should become what? Anyone? My first row should become what? Order priority 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. It should become what?
So headings.
The heading,
actually.
right? And how do we do that?
Yes, sir. We can change the heading using that, use the first row as header.
First row as header, correct? So
Yes,
we also know how to do that. Let's do it. So it looks a lot better now, right? But the only problem is that the data is in a pivoted format, which means These are my rows, these are my columns, these are my values. It's a pivot table. That is not good. I cannot have my data in a pivoted format because it's very difficult for Power BI to understand how to read the data. So it has to become a normal tabular data set, right? So there is something that we call as a flat file. Let me just show that to you. There is something we call as a flat file. A flat file means that it's a collection of data stored in a two-dimensional database. What does it mean? The column of the table represents one dimension, while each row is a separate record. Can you tell me, is this a flat file or not? Anyone? Let's look at the rule once again. It says that the column of the table represents one dimension. That means, like if you notice here, first column is order ID, second column is customer ID, third column is order date. But is that the case in our data here? Is each column representing a different dimension? Or is every column representing the same dimension?
It's the same dimension actually.
Same dimension, right? So that is not correct. I should not have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So ideally in this data set, how many columns should be there? 3 columns. First column will be order priority. Second column will be, anyone? First column will be order priority. Second column will be give me a moment. I'll give you a hint so that you can understand what we are doing. Okay, see it this way. First column will be my order priority. Fine, everyone. Now I also need to have another. Okay, what's happening? 1 second. Something wrong with my tool. Let me do that once again. Perfect. Okay, my first column will be my order priority. So what will be the second column and the third column? Just guess. It doesn't matter if you're wrong. What should it be? What is my second dimension? One dimension is order priority. What is the second dimension?
Sir, low, medium, high.
Is the order priority that we already have.
It's the order number.
The value or scale.
The days. What does it mean?
Okay.
Low. Days is 1. Then days is 2. Then days is 3. So how many times will low come? Guys, low will come how many times? If this is going from 1 to 7, how many times will low come? 7 times?
Yes, sir.
Agreed? Medium will also come 7 times. High will also come 7 times. And critical will also come 7 times. So total, how many rows will be created? 28. Because low is not going to come 1 time. Low is going to come 7 times. Medium is going to come 7 times. Same for high, same for critical. And the final column will be discount. Now let me show you the final result, and I'm sure when you look at it, it will make sense. Watch this. All I'm doing is I'm right-clicking on the first column and I will say unpivot other columns. Why are we doing an unpivot? Because our data is already in a pivoted format. So we want to reverse it. We want to create a flat file. So when I unpivot it, this is the data that we get. Does it make sense? Everybody, don't you think this data looks much better than the previous one?
Yes, sir.
The column we are converting it to into row format.
Would you now say that each column is a different dimension? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Correct. But in this one, do you see why each column is not a different dimension? Because from column number 2 till column number 8, they were all the same dimension, which is days. So that is a learning, which is that this is a flat file, right? I'll just try to give you one more example. A second, just give me a moment. I'll show you a different example and I can't seem to find it. Hold on. me a moment. Yeah, I think this would make sense. This is a classic example of a data set that whatever it is, marketing, finances, this is what we call a flat file. Ideally, data should start on A1 if it's on Excel. No columns are repeated. Each column is different. It's a different dimension, and there are individual records. It can also be like this, like a comma separated value or a tab separated value. It's still a flat file, right? So I hope this helps everyone, right? Okay. So this is how we have done the unpivoting, but we are not there yet, because what is the number of days? That's the shipping difference. That means that in the sales table, I have the order date and I have the shipping date, but I would like to know the difference in number of days. So from the 7th till the 9th, we know it took us 2 days, correct? From the 2nd till the 3rd, it took us only 1 day. From the 17th till the 20th, it took us 3 days. I hope that makes sense. How do you find the difference between two columns? Now I'll go to add column and I will select custom column. Very simple, add column and custom column. And here we will say that the date difference, or let's just call it the dispatch days, is equal to what? It is equal to nothing but my shipping date minus my order date. Like you would do it on Excel as well, shipping date minus order date. So you will get a new column with the number of days in it. Let me just convert it into a whole number. But there's a small problem, which is that what if the order was placed and it was dispatched on the same day? Then it will come as a 0 value. So if you notice, there is a 0 value coming here as well, which is fair enough. It can happen, right? So in our Excel as well, if you notice, if I can just reopen it for you. Oh, I'll open it here itself. Wait. Here as well, you notice that we don't have anything for a 0, which is okay. We'll figure that out later. But I just want you to point your attention towards it. Obviously, if something is dispatched on the same day, we are not offering any discount. Now, the second thing we need is we also need this order priority. Now, you can define the order priority as per any cut that you want. You can say 0 to 100 is low, 100 to 500 is medium, 500 to 5000 is high, above 5000 is critical, whatever you want, like a if statement. But how do we do that in Power Query? So this is the second last step. I will go to conditional column. So we go to home, transform, add column, and then conditional column. And here I will say that, let me create my sales bin. That means my sales category. We can also call it the order priority. And it is very simple. We will say that if my sales amount is less than 100, then the order priority should be low. If my sales amount, this is much easier than Excel, to be honest. If my sales amount is less than 500, then it is medium. One more time, if my sales amount is less than, let's say 5000, it is high. And then one final time, actually we don't need this one because we have a else if as well. We'll say otherwise it is critical, which means if it is equal to or greater than 5000. We press OK. And you notice that we get the order priority. Now we want to merge the discount with this table. So I already know how to do that. We can go to merge query. But here's my question for all of you. Which column should we be merging? Order priority days is what we have. We need the discount to come in the sales table, right? We want to merge it. But which column should I use to merge them? Anyone? Order priority days, which one should we use? Just guess. It doesn't matter if you're wrong.
Sir, I think days, because it's quantitative.
That doesn't matter. It's not necessary that it has to be quantitative. For example, when we were merging the subcategory with the subcategory, that was a text value, right? As long as it matches, it doesn't matter if it's a number or a text or alphanumeric. Now, the problem is that I can't match dispatch days with days. One reason is that it says select column of the same type. The type is also not the same. So first, let me fix that. Here, the dispatch days is a number. We have to make sure that in the discount also, this is a number. This is basic hygiene that you have to follow. Okay, let's come back. But now also there is a problem, which is that if I select my dispatch days and dispatch days, it's not going to work because it's a many to many. Like when I say dispatch days 2, I can't get a unique discount. Why not? Because discount days 2 is coming 4 times, isn't it? Because there are 4 types of low, critical, medium, and high. 2 is going to come 4 times. So there's no unique value. This is where we do something called a multi-column lookup. This is more advanced, but how we do this is we say dispatch days is not just the only column. We will press Control and I'll also select the order priority. The same thing we will do in the other table also. I will select days, press Control and select order priority. Do you see these numbers? 1 and 2, 1 and 2. This is correct. Once I do this and I click on OK, you're going to get the entire table like it always happens. Now I can just expand and then we only want the discount and we get the discount like this. But hold on. Keep in mind that there will be some null values as well. Why? Because this is where the shipping date was 0. Obviously, when the shipping date is 0, there is no discount offered. So we will have to manually change it. We will right click, do replace values like you do on Excel, find and replace. And we will say that every 0 or rather every null should be replaced with a 0. So now you notice we have zeros here. Now we can just change it to a percentage. I can change it to discount. And of course, then you can do calculation like sales minus cost of goods sold, multiplied by 1 minus discount to find the profit like that. We'll not get into that, but I hope you understand the workflow. First, we had to take the discount table, which was not a flat file. So we had to do some basic data cleaning, and then we had to do an unpivoting, change the data type. After that, we had to come back and we had to create a conditional column, which was to find out the order priority. So we said less than 100 is low, less than 500 is medium, less than 5,000 is high, so on. And we also did the difference between the ship date and the order date. And finally, we did a multi-column merge where we said that both the dispatch dates and the order priority have to be combined and then merged with the discount table to find the discount value. This is a very realistic example of the type of things that I have to do for my client projects, right? So I know I did it a little fast, but I hope you were able to follow. In any case, you will have to practice it a couple of times. All of this has been covered in my course on Power Query, conditional column, merge, multi-column merge. Everything has been covered, right? But yes, you have to take some time and practice it and take it slow. Don't do it in a hurry. You don't have to memorize it. Please remember that. You have to understand it. That is the important difference, right? If you memorize it, you will also forget it someday. You will also not be able to do other things. But if you understand it, it might take you longer, but then you will be able to apply it in other places as well. Right? Yep. Any questions, anyone? You guys can go back and watch the video once without doing it. Just watch, observe, pay attention to what all I'm doing. You know, a lot of people say, but why are you telling us to watch the video and not practice? I'll tell you why. When you watch a video and you practice at the same time, you're not really understanding much because you're just copying the action. You're saying, okay, Havish clicked here. Let me also click here. He selected this and pressed Control and selected the other one. I will also do the same thing. It is much better for you to watch completely undivided attention. Focus on what I'm doing, the words that I'm speaking, how I'm explaining, look at what all options I'm selecting, and then practice it. I feel that almost never should you watch and practice at the same time. It's never a good idea, because even unknowingly and unwantingly, you will end up just copying it. You will say, "Acha, he clicked there, let me also click here," without even understanding or asking yourself, why are you doing it, right? So that would be my experience that I'm sharing with you. I hope that helps. Cool. We're going to start with Tableau now, but if you have any general questions on Power BI, please go ahead and ask. I'll be happy to answer. Anyone? Right? Okay, cool. Let's start with Tableau. The difference between Tableau and Power BI, I'm not really going to talk about much. I've already shared the Gartner link with you. And I think that if you guys go online and search Tableau versus Power BI, you're going to find excellent articles on it. So rather than me explaining it, it's better that you do a Google search. But I'll just give you the important differences. Difference number one, Tableau is paid and free. So there is a free version called Tableau Public. That's the one that I'm going to work on. Free of cost. You can do all the charts, all the formulas, almost all the features. Free of cost. What's the catch? You cannot save your work on your computer. You can only save your work on the cloud, which means that whatever I'm doing and saving, the data will also become public, because anybody on the internet can see it, which might not be what we want. Because if I'm working on a client data, of course, I don't want other people to see it, right? It's confidential. That's the catch. Also, there are other differences, like in the free version, you can't connect to a lot of data sets. There are only about 10, 12 of them. In the paid one, you can connect to like 70, 80 different connectors, right? Then there are small differences, like you can't export it as a PowerPoint in the free version. You cannot connect to R and Python in the free version, right? But by and large, from a practice point of view, all charts, all formulas, all features work wonderfully with the free version aspect. So that should not be a problem, right? With Power BI, it's interesting because the software is the same. In Tableau, the software itself is different. Tableau Public is free. Tableau Desktop is paid. The software is paid. In Power BI, the software is only one software, which is Power BI Desktop. The difference is in the license that you have, right? So you have the same software. I also have the same software, even though I have a paid version. What is the difference? Because I have a paid account and my version is different, I have a few more features. So things like I can analyze it in Excel files. I can refresh my data 8 times a day automatically. I can have data sets up to 10 GB like that, right? Also, from a price point of view, there's a huge difference. Power BI, one user license for 1 month will cost you $10. So $10 per user per month. Tableau, on the other hand, is going to cost you $70 per user per month. So there is a 7 times difference between Power BI and Tableau. Of course, on face value, it might seem that, but why would anybody purchase Tableau if there's a 7x difference? So that depends on a lot of factors, because it's not just one, right? You'll be buying many licenses. So as a large organization, sometimes you buy 500, 1,000, 1,500, 5,000 licenses, right? So like a Pepsi would probably have, I don't know, 20,000 licenses. So there you have a ratio that, I have these many free ones, these many paid ones, these many ultra paid ones, like that. So just to show you, there is something called a Power BI calculator. And this tells you how much money are you expected to pay. Okay, just give me a moment. No, it's called the Power BI pricing calculator. Hold on. We'll find it. They keep on changing stuff, so I'm not able to locate it, but hold on. Or maybe we can look at a different website. It doesn't matter. Okay, see this. So in Power BI, it is asking me how many premium users we have. So let's say we have 8, just as an example. And Pro is the first account, which is $10. Premium is, I think, $20, something like that. So I'll say, let's say 6 of these, 8 of these, and then premium capacity node is 5. This is more expensive. So you notice that it will cost me 25.19. In Tableau, let's say we are getting 170 creator licenses. We are getting a few explorers. We're getting a few viewers as well. So you can see the difference here that monthly Tableau cost is actually going to be lower. So this is not really for you. You can see here, Tableau cost is $70 per user per month for the person who's creating the report. For the person who's viewing the report, Explorer is only $35, but Explorer can also do a little more, but they can't create it completely. Viewer can only view. They can't change anything. They can't even apply their own filters. That is the cheapest at $12, right? And in Power BI, you notice that minimum number is never there. Then there are different, so Power BI Pro, I told you, is $10. Power BI Premium per user is $20. And then you have something called Node. So Node gives you dedicated capacities. So as an enterprise, you want a dedicated capacity, right? So dedicated capacities have a bandwidth on it that, let's say, 5,000 users can work parallelly on the system, and the system will not slow down like that. And that costs you $5,000 per month, right? So it's about 40 lakhs for 1 year for an organization. For an organization, 40 lakhs a year is nothing, right? Considering what you're getting from it. Again, this is not really important for you guys. I just thought I'd show it to you so that in case tomorrow there is a need to ever have to search this, you know that it is available on the internet, right? Just Google the cost or the pricing calculator. Okay, great. So please come to Tableau, everyone. And we are going to work on our data set, which is, hold on, Tableau and this global superstore orders 2016, right? The one that we used in Power BI as well. We're going to work on this. Global superstore orders 2016. Okay, so let's go to Tableau, everyone. The first thing I'll do is to go to Microsoft Excel, and we will connect to our Excel file. I'll select the same file as well. So MDI, and then we have files, we have Tableau, we have only one Excel file here, and open. Perfect. Now the first interface, the first screen that you have, can you tell me, does it look like Power Query? Anyone? Would you say yes or no to that? Does it look a little bit like Power Query? Anyone? Yes or no? So a little bit, right? It little bit looks like Power Query, but then it's not Power Query, right? It's nothing like that. Can I make changes to my data here? A little bit, not a lot, just a tiny bit. So you notice that I have the option to create a calculation, which is like a measure. I can create aliases. That means I can give a different name. I can rename my column, duplicate it, copy it, change the data type. But that's about it. I can't really do much with it, right? So if I select multiple columns, right, there is an option to merge it, pivot it, right? But it's almost nothing. But then how do you clean data in Tableau? Because by now I think I've told you 100 times that data clearing and data preparation is going to take 80% of your time, right? So the question is, how do you clean your data in Tableau? For that, we have a separate tool, which is called Tableau Prep. Right, everyone? So we call it Tableau Prep. Tableau Prep is literally a competitor to Power Query. So the interface is a little different, obviously, but then what it does is almost the same thing as Power Query. So things like merge, append, duplicate, remove null, find and replace, join, concatenate, all those things that you do in Power Query, you can do the same thing in Tableau Prep as well. And this is, of course, integrated with Tableau Desktop. So you can do your data cleaning here and then bring the data into Tableau Desktop, right? That's the workflow, what we do. Okay. We also have the option of doing a merge, as you can see here. So this is my merge, everyone, and this is my append. So a few options are here, but then not a lot. Anyway, for now, we don't want to make any change to the data. Our data is already in a great shape. All I would like to do is to go to the sheet at the bottom. We have sheet number 1. In Power BI, we call them pages, but in Tableau, we call them sheet. So I'll go to my sheet. And the first chart that I would like to create for you is something very special. I'm sure all of you have seen it on LinkedIn. It is called a packed bubble. You've seen those circles, right? Where there's one large circle, one small circle, like that. I'll tell you how to create it. It's very simple. I'm going to put my segment, right? How do you select that? You simply double click on it. So if I double click on the segment, it comes in the rows. Let me do it one more time. You can even drag it manually. So I can drag the segment into the rows like this. And then next to it, we will keep the sales value. So I'll put the sales value here. Or you can put the sales value in the text, right? Like this. And finally, on my show me button on the right side, select the last one, packed bubble. Right, everyone? Very simple. So we put our, one more time, I put my segment in the rows, I put my sales in the text, and then I converted this into a packed bubble, right? So obviously, segment will now become text, which is the label. Sales will become the size, and then the color will become the segment as well. But here's the thing. Right now, there are 3 colors because there are 3 segments. But we also know that there are 3 different categories. So if I put my category in the color, look what will happen. Do you see this? Now you notice that because our category is in the color, the segment is coming like this. So we have consumer, consumer, consumer coming 3 times because there are 3 categories that we have. And if you put your market, remember there are 5 markets. If I put my market in the color, see what will happen. Now I will get 15 different bubbles, which means that there are 5 markets. So there are 5 different colors. So we have this 5 different colors. And then in each color, we have 3 circles, 1 for each segment that we have, like this. And you can even make it larger. So if I put my, let's say, region, right? Now you will get like this. Just try this out, everyone. The packed bubble.
Sir, I'm getting an error while adding the region.
Share your screen. Let's see.
Sir, this one.
Where are you? Just cancel this. Yeah, just put the region one more time. Okay, just see what it says. It says that the field being added may contain as many as 23 members, right? And the recommended maximum is 20. So it's not really giving you a warning, it's giving you a prompt information that we suggest that you should only keep 20 because of the type of visualization. But if you want to keep more, you can. So you just say add all members, right? Like this.
Okay.
So I'll share my screen again. I'll also do it once. See, because I have many regions, the problem is when I keep the region in the color, right? It's going to get quite cluttered, no? One more time. Let me first keep this segment, right? And then I'll keep my region in the color. I'll add all members. So the reason it said, are you sure you want to do it, is because it suggests that you should not keep more than 20. And I hope you guys will agree to that, right? Because this visualization only makes sense when you have a smaller number of circles in it, right? Okay, so I'll just quickly do it once again. Market comes in the color. I'm sorry, my mouse is giving me some trouble, right? Like this. All right, so this is working great, but here's the thing. Right now, it is showing me all the values, isn't it? So if I put my sales in the label, you notice that it shows me the sales for all of them, which might not be what I want because the minimum is 155,000 and the maximum is 2 million. Maybe I want to keep a range. So I want to say only show me between 500,000 and 1 million. How do we do that? Remember in Power BI, I showed you a slicer. We will do the same thing here as well. So I'm going to right click on sales and we will say right click and show filter. So what does that do? You notice that a filter comes on the right side. That's what it is saying, right? That sales are ranging from 155 till 2 million. But we don't want that. We only want to see between 500,000 and 1 million. So we will say between 500,000 and 100 or 1 million. And there are only 4 of these. And this is dynamic. So as you move it, do you see how my chart is also changing? And this looks great. Just check this out. It's a beautiful way of presenting data. Power BI is not this fluid. You know, in terms of the animation and in terms of the visual appeal, it doesn't look this good, right? Tableau is very, very good at this. Please try this. Any confusion that you have, please ask.
Sir, if we wanted to add one more slicer or one more filter over there, like in terms of date, that we wanted to specific date and specific period, so we have to do the same thing over there. The right click and
Absolutely. So if you want to add the order date, for example, I can right click and then show filter, right? So I have the 4 years now. So if you want to see it for a particular year, you can do that.
in one circle, the blue one, there is no any text coming because of the size is very smaller over there in the chart.
Yeah, so that is something that it decides automatically. So it feels that because there's very little space, it doesn't show you the value. But I guess there's a way to do that. You can simply right click on it and you can say mark label always show. So you can force it to show the value even if the space is less, right? Like this.
Okay.
And this level of control you don't get on Power BI. In Power BI, you either show the value or don't show the value. You can choose the density, but you can't choose it on a
Specific
item by
data.
item level. That's not possible.
Yes.
Here also you can't move it. See, that way Excel is the best. Just to give you an idea, that's why people underestimate Excel and I don't like it. But in Excel, once I make a chart, okay, just give me a second. It doesn't matter what chart it is. And I keep my data label here. In Excel, we have this beautiful ability of actually taking a label. Do you see this? I can just move it manually. I can independently change any label. And we always take this feature for granted. We are like, well, okay, what's the big deal? When you start working on Power BI and Tableau, you realize that you just don't have this feature. Even here, I don't really have that ability of moving this label where I want. Sure, there is another way. What I can do is I can right click and then I can do a annotate and do a mark, and then this box can be moved. Sure, but it's not as elegant as it is on Excel, right?
Yes.
Cool. Any other question on this, on the packed bubble? Good. Okay. Let's do something else. Let's make a map. Maps are fantastic on Tableau, period. Way better than Power BI. Even though Power BI has some add-ins, so you have Esri and ArcGIS and Azure and all of that. But natively, it's so much easier to work with maps on Tableau and they just look awesome, right? So please do it with me, everyone. We're going to make a map. Let's call it maps. Oh, by the way, this is how you create a new sheet, right? By clicking on the plus button. Okay. First thing first, can you tell me why is country, state, and city coming one below the other?
Data might be in the same format or in the same sequence. That much.
No, not just that. Okay, let me give you a hint. Dettol soap, pink color. What is this? What am I creating? Dettol. Within Dettol, there is Dettol antiseptic liquid, Dettol soap, Dettol hamper. So I'm taking Dettol soap. Within the soap, I'm taking Dettol pink color. What am I creating here? What are these
categories?
No, not just categories. What do you call them? What is the correct word for it?
Hierarchy.
A hierarchy. This, everyone, is what you call a hierarchy, right? Now, country, state, and city are coming one below the other because Tableau very smartly has auto-detected that hierarchy, right? Because you have a country, state, and city, and it is able to understand that, okay, it's the geography. It said, fine, maybe you want to see it in a hierarchy. Does that mean that you can create your own hierarchy? Absolutely. Don't do it. I'll just show it to you. I have my category, which is the parent, and then below the parent, I have the subcategory, which is the child, right? You guys must have studied product management. Have you done product and brand management in college? Or do you have a course on product and brand management, PBM?
Not yet, sir. Might be in the second one.
Okay. So in product and brand management, we talk about the line width and the line depth, right? The product portfolio, things like that. So category is the parent, and then we have the child, which is the subcategory, correct? Now what I'm doing here is that I'm just dragging my subcategory, if you notice, and putting on top of the category. This will create a hierarchy. Makes sense, right? Which is category and subcategory. If you would like to break a hierarchy, you can just select it and then drag it outside. As simple as that. So the country, state, and city came automatically, but you can break it if you want to. And if you want to make a new category, you can always do that. Okay, let's start with the map. So I want to double click on country. Please do that, everyone. Double click on country. Is everyone able to see this? Where 165 countries on the map have been plotted. And how do I know there are 165? Because on the bottom left corner, it tells me there are 165 marks. Marks means every point on the visualization that you have created. Right? But I don't really like the map in its current format. What I would like is to have a filled map. So I would like to put a color on the entire boundary of the country, not just put a dot. That doesn't look very good. So I will go to show me, and I will say that don't show me a symbol map, show me a normal map. This map, I'm sure all of you will agree, looks a lot better, right? Like this. Okay, quickly, tell me, how many markets do we have in our data? How many unique markets do we have? You should remember this by now. We have been working on the data for a while. So how many unique markets do we have? Guys, North America, USCA, Europe, Africa, LATAM, Asia Pacific, right? 5 markets. So if I put the market in the color, what do you think will happen here? Everyone, if I put the market in the color, what will happen to the map?
They'll be marked by different colors.
I'm sorry?
They'll be marked by different colors.
How many different colors?
5.
5 colors. Makes sense, right? So if I put the market in the color, obviously what will happen is that you will get 5 different colors like this. Okay, but what if I keep the country in the color? What will happen then?
165 different colors.
Absolutely. If you put the country in the color, see, if I put my country, why is I'm sorry, my mouse is giving me some trouble. Sorry about that. Hold on. Sorry, I just do it manually. 1 second. Sorry. Okay, so I'll add it to the color. How do I do that here? Transform silver. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll just do it like this. So you put it in the color and you get 165 colors, which might be very, I mean, it looks pretty. It's like a kid's coloring book, but it's completely impractical. Why would I want to do that, right? Okay, so let me undo that. Okay, now comes the interesting bit. If I put the segment in the color, what will happen? Just guess. If I put the segment in the color, what will happen? Why don't we try? Segment in the color, and something very strange happens there. You notice that it's showing you consumer, home office like this, but what does it even mean? I mean, it's not that in India, I'm only selling one segment. No, of course, I'm selling all the segments. So why is some of it coming as consumer and then home office and corporate? Anyone? Okay, now this is the answer, and you might not like the answer. In this case, it's probably because that's the highest in each of these countries, but this is completely wrong. It doesn't mean anything. It could give you any result, And that is the problem with Tableau. So far, I'm sure all of you will agree with me that Tableau is very nice to work with. It's very fluid. Everything seems to flow very well. Interface is very nice, unlike Power BI, which is Power BI is wonderful, obviously, but then it still looks like a very old tool. Tableau looks very elegant and very polished, doesn't it? But here's the problem. Tableau does not give you any guiding handrails, like a baby when he or she walks, you have something to hold on to. Tableau will never tell you that you are making an error or you're doing something which you're not supposed to do. Remember in Power BI, whenever we try to do something which we should not have done, like I made a visual in a way it was not supposed to be made, it would tell us you can't do it. It is not allowed. Tableau says you do whatever you want. We won't stop you. But the result might be completely wrong, difficult to interpret, impossible to interpret, completely, make your chart go haywire. Anything can happen. It won't stop you. Now, this is also very good because it's very flexible. Tableau as a tool will allow you to create beautiful, stunning visualizations, right? But Tableau also is very difficult to master because there's a lot of trial and error that will go into it because it won't stop you. If I was trying to do something similar in Power BI, it will not even allow me. It will say, no, you can't put the segment in the color. It doesn't make sense. Here, it won't stop you from doing it. You can do whatever you want. For example, let's say I'm putting my customer name in the color. Remember, we have 796 customers. So when I put my customer name in the color, again, you notice it doesn't really stop me from doing it. It says, fine, you want to do it, you do it. But the result doesn't even make any sense. Like, what is this? You get my point, right? So I'm not trying to scare you or anything. I just want to tell you a fact that Tableau is a wonderful tool, but the moment you start to work on it independently, see, today I'm telling you, do this, do this, do this. Tomorrow, when you try to do it yourself, do not be worried if things seem very odd and you get very confused because it's supposed to be like that, right? As a tool. Okay. But let's keep it simple. We have our country. The thing is that I don't want to have the same color for each country. I would like to have a gradient. That means larger cells should be dark blue or maybe a different color, and smaller cells should be a different color. Right now, I don't know which country is high and which country is low in the sales amount. So I'm going to put my sales, which is a number, in the color. And now what happens is, this is much better, right? The colors have changed. So the darker colors are higher, the lighter colors are lighter. I can also change the color if I want. So I can go to color, edit color, and say that, let me choose a different palette, something like anyone you want. So I'm going to choose a red blue. Okay, maybe not a red blue. That might not be a good idea. Let me select something else. Let's choose a blue-green sequential. This is nice, like this. Also, I would like to have a border around all the countries. So on my color, we can go to border and apply a border. That looks nice. And we will also make the opacity 0%. That will make it black, gray. And you can always change that, right? Like this. Now, how do you go from the country level to the state level? I can click on this plus sign here. And that will take me from the country to the state, like this. This also looks very nice. No? There are a lot of gaps here, obviously, because we are not selling in those states, right? But if you zoom in, you can see the states in which we are selling. But when you go from the state to the city level, you will not get a shape. You will only get a dot. That is something which is there in Tableau. Cities cannot be represented as a shape. It can only be represented as a dot. So that is my country level, like this. You also have a search bar. So if you just want to search for India, I can just say India here. Okay. It zooms into India and I can go to my state level like this. Yeah. Any questions so far? Anyone?
So can we have labels as well? It might look weird, but just wanted to.
I mean, you can, but then it would be preferable for you to keep labels only on the ones that you want to present, right? And not put it on everyone, because then I'll just show you how that looks. It will become too cluttered, right? Like this. Right? I'll give you a good example. Just see this. So I found this report by, I hope, yeah, this one. This is by Bain, right? So Bain and Company created, this was in one of the reports. I really liked it. I like the way they have this gray neutral color at the back end, the gray hue at the back. And then they have highlighted 3 countries, right? Germany, Denmark, and Spain only. They're not interested in the others because right now, why should I? I just want to focus on these, right? See what I made on Tableau. Almost the same, right? Of course, the data is different, but then I did the same thing. I just put a label only on these 3 and I put a different color on them as well, right? That might be a better idea. So how to do that? Let's say you want to write something about India or show the number for India, just right click on India, mark label, always show. So only India will be shown. But then this is still coming in the center, which might not be what you want. So you can right click and then annotate the mark, right? And this way you can actually move it like this. So this would be a better way of presenting the data, right? Like this. See, these are the, I mean, the question is a good question, but these are small things. These are not difficult to learn. Once you do my course, in the course, I've taught how to do all these things. This is not really what I want to focus on today because I want to expose you to all the features in Tableau. But of course, if you have any questions, ask me. I'll be happy to give you the answer. Cool. Anything else? Anyone on this? Okay, everything is going dark mode now, isn't it? Even LinkedIn has gone dark mode. So I can go to map, background maps, and I can select the dark mode. And there you go. This looks nice, right? Oh, by the way, you also have a full screen mode in Tableau, which is F7. You have an F5 in PowerPoint. You have a F7 in Tableau. We don't have a full screen mode on Power BI, right? We only have a full screen mode on Tableau. Also, nobody asked me so far, but you must be wondering, but why are we creating just one chart on one page? That's how Tableau works. In Power BI, we create a dashboard on a page, which means I can put multiple elements or multiple visuals on one page, isn't it? In Tableau, one sheet can only have one visual. So after you make multiple sheets with multiple visuals, then you create something called a dashboard to pull everything together. We'll do that at the end, right? But just remember, one sheet can only have one visualization on it, which you can say is a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because then there's an extra step. You first have to make visuals and then combine everything. In Power BI, you can do it in one click, I mean, in one straight manner. The good thing is that because you only have one visual on one page, it's very large and clear. So it's easier for you to work on it. But it is what it is. I will not say which one is better. They're different in that way. Okay. Cool. So quick recap, everyone. We have seen how we have loaded the data to Power BI. We have these green and blue colors. I'm sure you must have guessed by now what is green and what is blue. Green is the number, sales, sales, sales. Everything else is a blue color. We call them dimensions and measures. Now, don't confuse a measure here with the measure we have on Power BI. A measure here means a number. Any quantitative value is a measure. Measure in Power BI means a calculation. A lot of people get confused. They say, but how come we have a measure in Tableau? No, it's not a calculation. A measure means a number. That's all, right? And a blue means a dimension, which is a text geographic date value. Then, yeah, I mean, we've just covered it. So there's nothing to recap as such. Cool. Let's take our break. We'll come back and continue. I might take a little more time on today's session, maybe 10 minutes or so. We will see. I mean, depending on how quickly we are able to complete topics, I have a feeling it might be 10, 15 minutes more. So just be sort of mentally prepared for that, right? Cool. Let's take a small break, everyone. So I have a couple of calls to make. So let's resume sharp at 23:29. Okay. Yeah, 13 minutes should be good enough. So we come back at 11:30. we will then do our first calculation, which is the profit margin, which I showed you on Tableau and I showed you on Power BI. We'll do it on Tableau as well. And we will also do one more calculation where I'll show you how to combine a calculation with a parameter. We will do it when we come to that point. I'll do that example with you. Right? Cool. Let's take a break and I'll join you in 13 minutes, everyone. Sorry, my other clock apparently is 2 minutes early. Just give me a moment. Excellent. So we've had a break. Let's come back and continue with the session. So what we have done so far is we have created a packed bubble and a map. We have also seen how formatting works on Tableau, right? And now we want to calculate our profit margin. So profit margin. Let us see how we do this. I will just make a very simple table. We don't need to make a chart at the moment. In the table, I will keep my market, profit, and sales value. So double click, double click, double click. The easiest way is to double click on market, to double click on profit, and then to double click on the sales value. Right? Any questions so far? Anyone on making this? Let me just clean up a little bit. We do not need this as well. All right. All good? Okay. Now we want to create a simple calculation, which is profit margin, which would be the sum of profit divided by the sum of sales, right? Very simple. But where do I write it? In Power BI, if you remember, we had gone to the measure and we said equal to sum of profit divided by sum of sales. In this, we create something called a calculated field. So I go to analysis, and in analysis, we have create calculated field. We will call it the profit margin. So PROFIT margin. Right? And you can see the list of functions available in Tableau here. It is not a very long list. Like DAX is, of course, much more than this. Some similarities there, certain things are different. For example, here I have this hex bin X, hex bin Y. We don't have this in DAX. We also have this function called window, which is window average, right? Window max, window median, like this. Again, we don't have this on Power BI. On Power BI, we don't have this. Then we also have ZN. ZN is like a lookup, right? That we use. Okay. For now, we'll keep it very simple. I will say sum of profit divided by the sum of sales. Now, one very big difference in Tableau formulas is that they do not start with an equal to sign. And that's very odd because most formulas in other tools will always start with an equal to sign, isn't it? But here we don't. It's just wrong. It is not allowed. You can't do it. So we will simply write the sum of profit divided by the sum of sales. Very simple. The sum of profit divided by the sum of the sales value. Right? You click on OK. Now, where is that formula created? Here on the left side, there is a new field created called the profit margin. And once I put my profit margin in the table as well, right? So we'll just double click on it. We only get a 0 because it's a decimal number, but remember we have to convert it into a percentage. So please make sure to go to the profit margin and change the data type go to default property and then go to number format and then change it to a percentage like this. Right? And that's the result, everyone. We have profit, sales, profit margin, right? Like this. So this is how you do a calculation in Power BI, in Tableau. Very similar to how you do it in Power BI, but a little different. Any questions, anyone? Good. Everyone, should we do one more? Okay, so let's come to a slightly more advanced calculation. Now, what I'm trying to do here is to create a reference line. That means I have the product, I have the sales for 17 products from the minimum to the maximum, and we want to have a baseline. And we would like to say how many of these are above and how many of these are below. Let me show you what I mean by that. So where is it? 1 second. Okay, let me just come to YouTube. I already have this video, but I'll explain it live in the class. And I would like you to do it with me. It's a very good example. It will cover many different things, right? So if I look at Tableau, which is, where is it? Hey, I have this video called a dynamic reference line on Excel, Power BI, and Tableau, right? And what I've explained here is, if I can just show you the final example, you don't need to see the formula because we'll be doing it. Do you see I can change my reference line, which is the baseline, and any value which is above is green in color and any value that is below is yellow in color, right? Like this. So we're creating a dynamic chart. Let's see how to do this. Of course, if you would like to see this in detail for Excel and Power BI as well, the 18-minute video is there. And here I've also given you the link, right? So you can just click on the link and then you can download the sample. Even the Tableau link is there, right? All right, so let's come back and let's create a new sheet. I'll call it my dynamic ref line, which is my reference line. First, we need to have the sales for all the 17 subcategories that we have. So I will double click on subcategory and we will also double click on the sales value. Double click on the subcategory and then double click on the sales value. We don't really want a table. We would like to convert this into a column chart. So we go to show me and we will convert this into a chart. Hey, we don't have a vertical, we only have a horizontal bar. That's okay. Select the horizontal. And if you select the stat, you will get this. That's not what we want. So we will select the horizontal and then you want to reverse, right? So this is the button here. It is called swap rows and columns. The shortcut is Control W. So basically right now the y-axis has all my subcategories in it. So it's a bar chart. If you would like to rotate it 90 degrees into a column chart, then you click on this button and then you notice Control W is the shortcut like this. Right? Very simple. Right, so I'll keep on pausing. If you have any issue, ask me to stop and I'll explain it to you. All right. Also, if you look at the label at the bottom, I can't see the complete word. For example, appliances is a long word, right? And I can't see it because it's very long. So I would like to rotate it 90 degrees. So right click and rotate label like this. Very simple. Right click and rotate label.
So once we rotate it for one, it will be done for all.
Yeah. You can't rotate an individual label. If you rotate it, it will rotate. Even if you want to, you can't rotate only one. All of them will be rotated. Which makes sense also, right? Okay. Now I would like to have a horizontal line. Let's say we don't want a dynamic line. We just want to have one line at, let's say, 100, let's say 1 million, right? At this point, 1 million. How do you create that horizontal line here? I will select the y-axis. So you just click on the y-axis, anywhere on the y-axis, right click, and then you select add reference line. And now you can enter different things. For example, if I would like to enter the average value, it will create an average line. So it is automatically computing what is the average, which is 743,000, and it is creating a line like this. Okay, but what if I edit it and I say, no, I don't want an average line. I would like to create a constant line. That means I would like to manually decide what line I want. So I can go to constant and I can put in any number that I want. So I'll say, let's say a million. And now you notice we get a constant line for 1 million like this. Right, everyone? But we don't want a constant line. I would like this number to be dynamic, which means that it becomes a parameter. As the end user, when I present it to my client should have, or my manager, internal client, should have the ability to move this number up and down, right? So they should say, okay, what if I make it 50? How many of them are above 50, below 50? Okay, what if I make it 125, above and below? I'll give you a very practical use case for this. Let us say a company comes to campus for hiring, and they say that we are looking at minimum 75% in 12th standard. That's the rule, right? Some US-based company, they say we are looking at least 75% on the 12th as a cutoff point. And they realize that there are only 5 people from the batch who are making that cut because they are so strict about it, correct? So what will they do? They will lower the bar, right? So they will say, okay, let's look at 70. So maybe when they do 70, 25 students might be eligible, right? And when they say, okay, what will happen if I make it 65? If I make it 65, maybe 100 people are eligible. That is why this baseline or this reference line as a concept is very, very important. I will also give you a live example of a company that is already using it, right? So I'll show you one by EY and one by Arthur D. Little. Arthur D. Little is the world's oldest management consulting firm. So I would like you all to see. Okay, one moment. Okay, you can look at this one. So here, this is the EY report. And what we have here is competencies on a scale of 1 to 5. Like supply chain management is a 1 and technical manufacturing skills is a 5. Clearly, you can see that only the 5 have been highlighted because we feel that the 5 is more important, right? But the thing is, how do I do this? Like, how do I only highlight the ones above the cutoff point in one color and the ones below in a different color? I will also show you the Arthur D. Little report. Give me a moment. So if I go to charts, see this, right? This is a snapshot I've taken from one of their reports. And what they've done is they're saying that there are these banks, okay? HSBC, BNP Paribas, and so on. The number here is the number of key products that they have, right? So HSBC is offering 9 key products. Now I'm saying, what is the average product offering? So the average is this red line, which is 8. And what is the average cross-sell ratio? It is 4. Does it make sense? Average product offering is 8 and cross-sell is 4. Now I can move it left and right now to see how many of them are above average and how many of them are below average. Okay? So I hope you're able to relate to this and also see why this would be very useful for a variety of different things. Okay, now this 1 million has to become dynamic so that the user can decide what they want. Do they want a 10,000 or a 1 million or a 1.5 million? For this, we create a parameter. How do we do that? This white area that we have, I will right click and we will say create parameter. Another way to do this is to click on the small drop down that you see here. And on that drop down, also you have the option for both things, for creating a calculated field and for also creating a parameter. So I'll select a parameter. What is a parameter? It is called choose ref line, and it is an integer, right? Which is a range between, let's say, 10,000 and 1 million. Please do this, everyone. Between 10,000 and 1 million. Right. I hope all of you have done this. So choose refline is the parameter. It's an integer between 10,000 and 1 million, right? Press OK. Now the parameter has been created like this. And what do we want to do? We want to use it as a slicer. So I will right click on it and I will select show parameter so that I can move it left and right. As you can see, you see, I can make the number move, but then the reference line is not moving, right? So we have to connect both the things. We have to connect that parameter with the reference line. Very easy to do. I will right click and edit my reference line. And we will say that, no, don't put a constant of 1 million. We would like that number to be dynamic. So I'm going to change it to, please watch, to the sum. But then I will change this to the parameter. Like this, choose ref line. What does that do? Now you notice that as I move the reference line in the parameter, do you see how it is moving on the actual chart as well? And remember, we can do the exact same thing on Power BI and on Excel. And I have a video explaining exactly that. Any questions so far? The final step left is that now we need two different colors for the values above and for the values below. We'll do that as well. But any questions before that? Let's do the final thing. So analysis and create calculated field. And I just want to choose my color, right? So I'll just call it color or whatever you want to call it. And we will say that if the sum of sales, that means if the sum of sales, which is 749,000, if 749,000 is greater than or equal to 5,68,000, what should happen? It should show me a high. Otherwise, it should show me below, above or below. So we will say if the sum of sales is greater than or equal to, so if 749 is greater than or equal to 568, what is the 568? That's the choose ref line. Then the result should be above, else the result should be below, and then we have an end. Please look at the syntax as well. It's very different to Excel and DAX and Power Query. It's very different. It's a little bit like programming because you have a if, else if, and an end. So it is like VBA in that way that you have an end here, but it's its own thing. You know, Tableau formulas can't really be compared to other types of formulas because it's quite different to other tools. All good?
So can you just tell this once again, like a sum of sales of which one should be greater than?
Each one by one, I'm going to check it for each single subcategory. For example, is 749 greater than or equal to 568? No. So the result will be B. Is 1010 greater than 568? I mean, yes, it is greater. So the result will be A. Is it greater? A. Is 371 greater than or equal to 568? No. So the result will be B. Does it make sense? We are trying to find the result for every single subcategory, right? One by one.
The reference line will be constant and we'll be checking with respect to that.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it, that the reference line is constant, but the sum of sales is different for each one of the 17, right? Like if I ask you how many of you are above the age of 23, just as an example, I will have to do it one by one. No, I say, okay, are you more than 23? Are you more than 23? Are you more than 23? Like that. That's what we are doing. Press OK, and we get this new field called color. Now remember, there are only two results. One is above, the other is below. So this can be put in the color now. I'll put it in the color, and that's it. We get two colors, but of course we don't want a yellow and a blue. So on the color, I'll click and I will say A is a green and B is a gray, right? Like this. And you notice that as I move my reference line, look how nice this looks. Whenever the value is above the reference line, it becomes green. If it's below, it becomes green, like this. So the idea is that Tableau Power BI is not just about making pretty looking static charts, right? That you just take a screenshot of and put it. The idea is to make it dynamic so that the user can play and interact with it, right? And you can present a story with it.
So when it comes to taking the tools like average and all, then we can choose like it is in the tool. But when you're taking a reference line, it should be with respect to a particular question. If it is asked that higher than this particular value or lower than this, so in corresponding to that only we will be using the reference line.
You could have done this with the average also. So I'll just show you. So I'll say edit and I'll say that is my sum of sales. Let me just think how we'll do this. Just a minute. We want to find the average. So I think it should be the window average. Just let me check. Let me just try one. I'm just checking. Hold on. So we are only getting an A here, but that doesn't make sense. So let me just edit and check once. If the sum of sales is greater than or equal to the total average of sales. Let me just check. No, I'm sorry. I'm not really quite able to do it now, but yeah, I mean, you can experiment on your own. It should be total or window average, something like that. But yeah, right now we are making this dynamic by, comparing it to this, but you can also compare it to some constant or average as well. Absolutely. Right. Any other question, anyone? So quick recap of this. We first created a parameter, which was choose ref line between 10 and 1 million. Then we created a condition, which is if the actual sales is greater than, then it should be A, otherwise it should be B. And then we put that in the color. Similarly, you can have 3, 4 conditions as well, right? Obviously. Let me just try that one more time. The one with the window. Just give me a second. Okay, this is not the one we want. I would like to open my notes. Hold on. Wait. So that sales, lookup, scatter, okay, combo, bubble, now. Can I say fixed? No, that would also not help. Why is it so complex? One second. Running sum. Sorry, I'm not quite sure. I'll just try one last time. I mean, my logic should be correct. So we're looking at sum of sales greater equal to my window average, but it said the window average is not working, right? So it says the expression. One second. Doesn't give me an error, but it doesn't work either. No, I'll have to try this. Yeah. Right. Anything else? Anyone on this? Now, something are very strange about Tableau. You remember in Power BI, we had seen how to create a card, which is just one number, right? There was an option for that. In Tableau, if you would like to create a card, you actually have to make a new page, right? So if I want to make a sales card, I will have to make a new sheet. I'll have to put the sales in it, convert this into a number, obviously. So I'll just convert this into a table. And we'll also increase the size. So right click, format, and I will increase the size. Now, a lot of people find that very strange. They say, but why are you creating a new sheet to, you understand my point, right? Why are you creating a new sheet to just create a card? But that's the way Tableau works. One sheet can only have one visualization on it. Whether that visual is a complex visual like this or as simple a visual as like this, you have to make it on a new sheet. After all the visuals have been made, then you pull all of them together in a dashboard. How do we do that? This is the button, everyone. So you can either create a new sheet or you can create a new dashboard, right? So I'm going to select the dashboard. I don't like the size of the dashboard. It's very vertical like a phone, right? I want it to be like a landscape mode, like a normal laptop. So I will change the size to a fixed size, which is, no, not a fixed size, but to an automatic size, which is a, one second, fixed size, which is a generic desktop. My standard size, right? 1366 by 768. And now I can select which of the sheets would I like to show in it, right? I don't have to put all of them. I can select the ones that I want. For example, let's say I'm putting my sales card like this. Now you must be wondering, but why is it filling up the entire page? That's again something very irritating about Tableau. When you put something, it fills up the entire page. What you can do is you can click on this drop down and then you select floating. Floating means you can put it wherever you want. So if you notice, I can put it wherever I want, like this. Correct? Also, I think it's very large. With your permission, I'll just reduce the size a little bit. I think that's better. And we also don't want the title, so I'll just hide the title. Or maybe not hide it, I will just edit the title. I'll just call it total sales. We'll also make it bold. Perfect. And let's also now minimize this. So that's my first element I have on my dashboard. Next, I would like to keep, let's say, my dynamic reference line. So I'm going to keep that here. Again, we would make it floating so that I don't want to fill up the entire page with it. I just want to select this much area like this. I think that looks good. Now we want to keep one more. So I'll keep, again, let's say my packed bubble. This also will make floating. Okay. Now, another very irritating part is that you would expect that fine, with so much effort, everything should be interconnected, right? But that is not the case. Watch. If I select only one bubble, do you see other things are not changing? And that's very irritating, right? Because in Power BI, by default, everything is connected. And ideally, that should be the case. If you want to break the connection, that is a different thing. But ideally, everything should be connected, right? Now, how do you connect it? You click on the drop down and then you say, use as filter. Now, this means that when I click, do you see how everything is changing? Right? Like this. Right? So yeah, just try, the dashboard will take you some time to get the hang of because it's just the way it has been created. I personally am not a fan of it. I find Power BI much more easy. But then, that's the beauty of Tableau because it's so flexible. You can create these beautiful charts because of all the level of flexibility that you have, right? So just try this out, spend a few minutes on it and let me know if, don't try anything very complicated. Just try the simple things. First, make it floating. All the pages that you're getting, make it floating and just drag and drop and, change the size like that. right? Any questions, anybody? There was a beep. I think there's something on WhatsApp. Let me check that. Yeah, all good. Yeah, so we have seen, you've seen the interface for Tableau. I spoke a little bit about the differences. I'm sure you yourself must have seen what is similar, dissimilar. We have done the two most important things, which is parameter and calculated field. There are many other things like groups and sets, but then the more advanced complex thing is the parameter and the field that makes it dynamic, which I've covered for you, right? So yeah, I mean, from my side, I'm done. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. And you guys should do what I do. I will even show it to you. If you notice, I have taken one snapshot from a report, okay? For example, like this. With IIM Kozhikode, I'm doing a 12-hour training. So obviously I'll cover much more, right? Today we only had like a 1.5-hour session. So I've taken one report from McKinsey and I've tried to recreate the same thing on Tableau. So, so that's a good practice because you have a ready-made example and you're trying to recreate it without trying to think of everything from scratch, right? Again, ready-made, McKinsey, another McKinsey, and this is what I made. Then you have a Accenture report. This is what we made. This is the EY report. This is what we made, right? This is the, I don't know, business standard or economic times, something like that. This is what we made, which is our YOY change. I have a video on this on YouTube as well, right? Then a scatter chart, scatter chart, scatter chart, our scatter chart. Map, our map. Bain and Company, our report. This is KPMG. This is another one. I don't know, McKinsey. This is our report. So you get the idea, right, as to what we're doing. Heat map, right? This is our heat map. Dot strip plot, combo chart, right? Bubble chart, tree map, like this. Yes, some of these are quite difficult and there's a lot of trial and error, searching online, time is spent doing all this, but I think it is all time well spent. The smallest of things, just to give you one example, this very last one that I did, I mean, I can't even tell you how much time it took me to get this right. So I saw this one, right? This was on the New York Times. And I loved it. I like the colors and, the way there is only one value coming here. Now, I was able to get the colors, but I was not able to get the number in one place because the number would get filtered into all the small rectangles. So it took me a while to get it like this. So this is the formula that I had to write. This is a very advanced formula. These are called level of detail expressions. I have an entire course on this. You guys already have access to it on Teachable. I've covered like some 12, 13 examples. These are called level of detail expression. These are very advanced formulas in Tableau. Right? So I had to struggle quite a bit to think about how it is that I want to present it, and I managed to do it. This is something I'm very proud of. And while people might say, really, you spent 3 hours on it, like, is it a good investment of your time? Yes, it is. Because the 3 hours is not just about creating the solution. There's so much learning that happens, no? Because when you're doing trial and error, you don't just learn how to get the perfect answer. You also learn other things. You learn what not to do. You learn what happens when you do something else, like that. So never, don't listen to other people. No, other people who don't do anything, they will always comment on what you're doing. You should have the confidence and the realization that if you're spending 4 hours wholeheartedly with your undivided attention, studying and really doing something, and you feel proud of it, feel proud of it. It's time spent well, right? It's you should feel happy and proud that you have spent time. It takes a lot of energy and many years to become a data analyst and do data visualization on Tableau and Power Bi. Everybody thinks it's easy. I can just click and make a chart. Yes, you can, but to make it the way you can visualize it in your head is very difficult, right? And hopefully you saw that, right? That it's not that easy. So yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
Sir,
Yep.
can we remove that choose ref line written over there? That bar chart.
The heading, you mean?
Yes, sir.
But that is just something you can modify, right? I mean, here you can just show the title, right? You can remove it, you can hide it if you want. But then something should be there, no? Because otherwise, how will the person know what it even means? But yeah, I mean,
Sir,
if you want to edit,
Sir,
or
in
hide
the
it,
chart, like it's
you
written in the
mean
chart.
here? Yeah,
Yes,
of course. I did not bother to, but of course you can. I'll just edit it. And then where it says the value, the label, I will just put the value in it, right? So the number will come, not the choose ref line.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So yeah, this would be better, right? So that you can actually see the number that you're selecting. So these type of small things, these are good questions. It's just that right now I told you, okay, do this, don't do this, this will work, this will not work. When you do it yourself, that's the fun part, right? It takes time. You have to Google, ask people, trial and error. But that's natural. How do I know all this? Of course, I study a lot, but that doesn't mean you can study everything. A lot of your learning comes from just doing it yourself, right? Great. Anything else that you want to ask? All good. Okay, guys. So that's all from my side. I think we have covered, I'm also pretty critical of myself when it comes to the topics that I cover, because I would love to do a 40-hour session, right? But then it's not possible. Doing a 12 also is something we had to fight for. But yeah, the idea is, rather than thinking about the things we could not do, we should feel happy about the things that we have done. And I think we have done quite a lot, right? So it's very important for you to continue learning and, not just forget about it for the next 2 months. Continue learning, keep on practicing, and understand what you're doing. Don't just memorize it, right? Of course, I don't know how many of you want to become a data analyst, and for how many of you this is just a passing interest. Maybe you want to do something different, but then you have to learn Power BI in any case. None of you can say that I choose not to learn Power BI, because you have to, right? So yeah, I mean, that's the point. You guys have to learn Power BI because it's an essential skill, right? As an MBA student. So yeah. Cool. Any other question, anyone that you want to ask?
Sir, last question is that, sir, business analysts also want to learn that Power BI, right? For the skill development.
See, first things first, how an organization titles the profile almost means nothing. Because I work with so many students, right? I mean, I meet thousands of students every year. And I work with so many colleges. I've seen companies, large known companies, that say business analyst and you end up working in data. I've also known companies that say data analyst and you work with very little data, right? There's the same file that you're working on every day. So honestly, I can't really go by the title. It doesn't tell you much. I will talk more about the profile, right? Typically, a business analyst profile would have more of the business angle on it, which means making presentations, solving problems, right? A data analyst profile is more on the technical side, somebody who's just creating a dashboard and giving it to the business side of it, right? So for example, if I'm the data analyst for the HR team, my job is just to take the data, prepare a dashboard and give it to the manager. The managers will go and present it, right? That's the difference. So data analyst is more of data, less of business. Business analyst is more of business, less of data, like that. But then it really depends, if you say this company business analyst, what does it mean? I can't tell you unless you go through the job profile. It's very hard to say what they actually mean by it.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other question, anyone? Anything else? Of course, you can always be in touch with me on LinkedIn. So if there's anything you want to ask, you can just even like send me a WhatsApp. I'm always available. But then at the moment, if there's anything you would like to ask.
Sir, what will be the essential skill set that you require for be a data analyst?
Be very good at Excel. So understand data cleaning, how is data stored, data cataloging, things like that. Basics, VLOOKUP, pivot, all of this you should be a master at. Power BI, you have to be an advanced user. At the moment, if you're going to apply for a job in the next 6, 12, 18 months, DAX and all probably is not that important. You can do the data visualization bit, dashboards more than enough. A little bit of Power Query. But then for the future, you should start learning DAX now because it's going to take you time, right? And I would suggest a little bit of programming, and Python is the best language to learn. If you guys haven't already learned something else or have started learning JavaScript or R or Python, I feel Python is a very good programming language to start working on because it's very simple to work on. Even R is simple, but then R is mostly for data science. Python is a general programming language. So it has data science also. It has many other things in it also.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And don't ignore PowerPoint. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not able to present yourself well, then, I mean, it doesn't get the job done. No? I mean, look at my own example. I run a firm, right? I have to present myself to you guys and to my clients as well, right? Now, if you go to my website and I give you a crappy website, where content is there, but visually it's not appealing, and it just looks as if it's just text and boring data in it. Would you really like it? Of course not, right? You care about the design, no? If I just put the name of the clients rather than putting the logos and categorizing them, think about it. What impression it would have created. So it's very easy to say that how does it matter? I'm a data analyst, I'm a data scientist. How does it matter whether my website looks good or not? Because this is an impression. You like it or refuse to believe it. Impressions matter. First, second, third impression, everything matters, right? I have designed my entire website. Everything that you see here, every single thing has been done by me. All the design, my company logo, everything that you see here has been done by me. And I've taken it through so many revisions over the last 3 years that every 6 months I make this complete change, complete overhaul. Like some pages I'm very proud of the way they have been designed. And most likely, if you look at it in another 6 months, it would have again got changed, right? So, I mean, that's the point. You have to constantly also look at the communication. How are you able to show to the recruiter what you have done? Whether you're doing a live project or an internship or you're going to work with a company, is this not nice? If you're able to show to them that, see, this is what I've created. For example, if today somebody says, okay, what have you done? I cannot say I have so many years of experience and I teach at so many companies. It doesn't matter. It doesn't sound exciting. But when I say that, okay, let me show you what I have done. So I can take them to my website and I will say, okay, let me show you what I've created. So this is an HR dashboard. This is another HR dashboard, right? After that, I have dashboards on marketing. I have dashboards again on marketing. Then I can show you how to create a transparent background. I can show you how to do a conversion percentage funnel, right? Let me show you another sales dashboard, right? Let me show you a completely unrelated NYPD dashboard. Then let me show you some financial dashboard. This is how you present yourself, right? If I did not have all of this with me, then my pitch is not very strong, because you'll be like, fine, it seems that Havish has a lot of experience, but we don't know how he is, right? So that is what I mean. My YouTube channel, for me, a lot of people say, why do you even do it, right? I mean, I don't earn any money from YouTube, right? But the point is, I do it because it's, for me, it's probably the best marketing I can do, right? I mean, sure, it takes me a lot of effort, but then it's marketing for me, right? I'll just show you something. I sell online courses, right? So you know that. I just got a message from this female who works at Wipro. Look at this, Padmavati. She just said that, hi, I've been your silent follower on LinkedIn and watched all your videos on YouTube, and you are inspiring, planning to buy your bundle, blah, blah. And I can give you like dozens of these examples. My point is that you have to continuously commit to it, that I will continue to write an article. It doesn't matter if people follow, write, comment, talk about it or not, because they will. If you continue to create good content, yes, gradually it will start, right? And I don't care. I could have had 32,000 subscribers. You know, there's a guy called Lokesh Lalwani, who's also a Excel Power BI trainer. Look at it. He has 100,000 subscribers, right? Do I not like, I mean, do I not feel that I wanted to? Of course, I want to have 100,000 subscribers. Why would I not want to have them, right? But then to do that, I mean, nothing against him. He's a wonderful trainer. My point is that I don't want to do something I don't want to do, right? I mean, he's talking about what is the salary for a Power BI developer and, you know, stuck in a dead-end job and earn 30,000 rupees per. That's not what I do. I have no problem against him or anybody else doing it, but I have to stick to me. What I do is what I do, right? The best, the absolute best guy in the world is Mr. Excel. Look at how many subscribers he has. He just has 120,000 and he has 2,200 videos on Excel. Look at this. Literally 2,231 videos on Excel. Okay. I mean, it's even more than that. 2,478 videos in Excel. That's a lot. You can never watch all of them, right? On an average, it's, let's say, 1 minute. Still, that's a lot of content, right? That's 40 hours of content. How are you going to watch all of it? Who will? But that's the point. He only has 120,000. The best, one of the best channels for Power BI, DAX, is SQL BI. Look at it. They only have 47.7, 47,000. That's nothing. Half of Lokesh. But it doesn't matter, right? Because it's about reaching to the right target audience. What will I do by reaching out to 150,000 people if that's not my target audience? I work as a consultant. My expectation is that when I'm working with government ministries and when I'm going to CXOs, they should be impressed with what I'm doing. When I did that, I started my project with NCRTC. You know, I told you guys about it. When I met the GGM HR, the group general manager, very senior guy, Manojji told me that, Havish, I saw your YouTube channel and I went through your entire website. I really liked everything. I think that matters, no? That one person who I want to create an impression to cares about it. Otherwise, 50,000 people saying, good job, great video. That's not what I want to do. And there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody wants to go in a different direction. The direction I want to get into is not to create simple, ready-made, small, basic content. You know, because my work is not as a trainer, I'm a consultant. That's what I like to do. So my suggestion anyway to you guys is, not that many people follow it, almost nobody does. Please create a YouTube channel. You will thank me later in life. When you create a YouTube channel, you learn so many things. You learn how to create good content. You learn how to do a lot of research. You will learn how to, you know, present yourself well, how to talk in front of a camera, and, you know, how to modulate your voice and the words that you use. You will learn technical skills, how to edit the audio and the video and, you know, make your video look pretty. That process of uploading on Google, then following the analytics, you will learn marketing, how to market, how to send it to other people, what keywords to use. You know, since I've been through this journey for what, 1.5, 2 years now, I can tell you, I'm so much richer from the experience. And I'm so happy that I decided to do it. I've been planning since 2015 or 2016 to come up with a YouTube video. Every year I would have some excuse. Nahi, I'll do it then, I'll do it now. Finally, I decided in 2019, enough is enough. I'm going to do it. I don't care what the video is. I'm going to make a YouTube video. That's it. My first YouTube video did not even have any audio in it. It did not have my photo in it because I was so afraid and I was so tensed. You know, I was not comfortable speaking Today, if you say, Havish, can you record 5 videos? I can do it in, in the next 1 hour. But that confidence has only come with time, right? So that's my point. I'm not saying day one, everything will be perfect. No, it won't. But it will give you that motivation and that direction to learn, right? So it's very important. YouTube is the best way to learn everything, how to create written content, write an article, promote, market, learn the tools, learn the software, learn the Power BI tool that you're working on, create better content, do your research. Everything comes into one, right? So rather than putting something on LinkedIn, which will just be an article, and once you put the article, people will comment on it. After 1 week, everybody will forget about it, isn't it? YouTube is permanent. It acts like a portfolio. If you write 15 articles on LinkedIn, tomorrow for your interview, how will you show them that you have written 15 articles? Will you send them 15 links? That's crazy, right? You're not going to do that. Plus, it's not very visual. But if you say that I've created 15 videos, that seems nice, doesn't it? For example, one of my interns, right, Talha, I forced him to create a YouTube channel. His numbers are small, 231 subscribers. But you know what? Talha joined at DTDC in, sales, right? And then he got an opportunity. I know I'm taking too long, but then I'll just show you this one last thing to just give you a little bit of motivation. 1 second. I'm just finding it. Wait. Okay, I found it. Look at this. Talha is from Jaipur, from a mid-tier college. He got a placement at DTDC, some 4-5 lakhs package, something like that. He got a sales profile, but because he was working on Tableau, some girl from IIM Lucknow left. I don't know, she got a different job or something, and they wanted somebody. And they happened to see his YouTube channel and they said, okay, will you be willing to take up that role? And within 6 months, he got shifted. He would have spent 5 years in sales. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I spent 3 years in sales. I loved it. My point is that opportunities come, but you have to be prepared for it. I just literally want to show it to you. Look at this. In view of the business exigency, you are being transferred to the Mumbai Apex under strategic planning and development team. This guy joined as a sales trainee, right? He was going to clients, to different warehouses and plants, telling them, please buy my services, and and he got a job and he's now working in the corporate office. My point of showing this to you is to tell you that opportunity, and I can share many experiences from my life where opportunities have come, but you have to be prepared for it. You will say, but Are, why should I learn it? What's the point? How will it help me? No, you can't ask questions like that, right? If I'm older to you, right? I'm older to you, I'm more experienced to you. If I'm telling you that, no, it matters and it will help you, you have to take my word for it, right? Because I have your best interest at heart. Why would I tell you something which I don't believe in, right? So because I've been through this journey and I've benefited from it, I can tell you with complete confidence, making stuff like this is going to help you in so many ways, right? It's just going to make you more confident. Leave everything aside. Your confidence that you will gain in itself will help you, right? From a placements are important, right? So from a placement perspective. So yeah, anyway, that's the end of my lecture. I'll not say more. Cool. So guys, I guess we can wrap up. So thank you so much for joining me for 6 days. We have done a lot. Be in touch, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, email, however you want to communicate with me, I'm always available. But don't send me something like, sir, what is the difference between Power BI and Tableau? Which one should I learn? I'm not going to answer those questions. Why? Because you already have these answers on Google, no? Why do you need me? I don't have time to answer them. If you say, sir, this formula is not working. If you have tried it and you send me a screenshot and say it is not working, I will always 10 out of 10 times give you a reply. But if you say that, sir, can you help me write a formula? I'm not going to do that, because you have to try first. You try. If you're not able to do it, if you Google it and you're not able to find it, then you tell me 15 times, 50 times. If you ask me, I will come back to you, right? But I'm only going to help you if you help yourself. I'm very blunt and I'm very candid about it, right? So I hope that's okay with everyone. Perfect. Most of you have left. Some of you can at least turn your camera for a moment. I just wanted a picture. I create a PDF with all my sessions in it. I hope this is my last online session, and all the other sessions in the future will be classroom. Kozhikode is my first classroom training after 2 years. So I hope that when I meet you guys next, I'll meet you on campus. So thank you, everyone. I'll just wait for a few more pictures and then I'll take a screenshot. Excellent. I think that works. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, sir, on
Thank you,
behalf
sir.
of MDI Murshidabad and Team Analytica. It was great learning these 6 days, and we hope to apply that. We definitely will apply that in our future learnings. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.